Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Shelea. Shelea is a musical powerhouse. Not only is she an incredible singer, but she is also a songwriter and pianist. Her past work includes collaborations with Anthony Hamilton, Stevie Wonder, and Quincy Jones, to name a few. And now the talented artist is starring in the upcoming April Lifetime biopic based on the gospel group, the Clark Sisters, executive produced by Queen Latifah, Mary J. Blige, and Missy Elliott. Everyone, please help me in welcoming Shelea. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Build. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm feeling so good being here in New York. I just love it here.
Yes, and you just had a show last night at the Blue Note. We talked a little bit about it backstage.
You might hear a little rasp in my voice because I did 2 shows at the Blue Note last night, the 8 o'clock and the 10:30, and then partied with my boys afterward for all their hard work. And so, yes, it's been fun.
Yes, you had a night. A New
I
York night,
had a
right?
New York night.
It's totally fine. So I guess I was going to ask you if you felt, inclined to sing some of your answers. Feel free.
We can
but
do
maybe
that.
Not now, since your voice is a little raspy. I don't want to.
I'll croak a few things out if the moment presents itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to jump in talking about this biopic. I mean, it was absolutely incredible. I got to see it. And honestly, we all know the Clark Sisters. They are iconic in gospel and just music overall. Like, how was that experience for you being a part of this project?
It was so full circle because, they really were the soundtrack to my childhood. So just to be able to be now depicting them to where their story, the struggles, and you see what it took to get You Brought the Sunshine, to get to Is My Living in Vain. It's really, really meaningful to bring their story to life to the world.
Absolutely. And I think some parts of it, without giving anything away, were so informative. I personally had no idea a lot of the pain, a lot of the abuse they endured. But I mean, another part of the movie is just showing their resilience and showing their determination and perseverance. And I think that was also equally as beautiful of a story to share as well.
I agree. And what I also love about it, it's a story about women.
Yes.
And if I could be, specific, Black women.
Absolutely.
And even on every level of this film, it's produced by Black women. It was written by a Black woman. It was directed by a Black woman. And all of the actresses, it's a story about all of these, like you said, resilient, strong Black women. And so it's such an honor just to be in that number.
Yes. There was just one part that I want to share that I thought was extremely powerful. The scene between Maddie and her husband where he said, that doesn't look good on you. And she said, what? And he said, ambition. And I'm like, the audacity for this man to say this to this powerful matriarch of a family who produced such an iconic group, to say something like that to her.
Yeah. It's it was a different time, and I think, women's roles were, perhaps different then. For some people, it's still the same. I think it's nice to have a choice now. If you do want to stay at home and that is difficult as well. But I think there was so much more to Dr. Maddie Moss Clark. Absolutely. She wasn't just a stay-at-home wife. She was, she was so ahead of her time. She had gold records of her own, before the Clark Sisters came along. So she had a lot more to offer, and it's, I think now it's easier for us as women to do that.
Yes. And you play the role of Dorinda Clark.
Yes,
the rose.
The rose.
How did you prep for this role?
Well, again, being a fan, I knew her somewhat intimately, just obviously from a distance. But I went and watched all her videos, just to kind of see her mannerisms. And she was so gracious. She's probably one of the hardest working people in the industry. But she took some time out to speak with me for a few hours, actually, and just really was able to give me just a lot of insight into, what she was going through at certain moments, and it was very, very helpful.
Wow, that is incredible that she did that for you.
Yeah, yes. It was. She honestly, she is such a beautiful person on the outside, but she is just equally, if not a little bit more beautiful on the inside. Yeah.
Now, obviously, we all know that you, yourself, your voice is incredible.
Thank you.
You know, I was just saying that before this interview, you went viral on Twitter. There's a clip of you performing for the PBS concert, and you're doing renditions of some of the most classic songs with your own spin on it. And I'm like, she is, honestly, I'm speechless. Like, you know, when you sometimes feel like the spirit in you or is moving through someone, I'm like, she's touched by God, like truly. I thought that your voice is just incredible. However, for this role, Dorinda has quite a different tone than you, and her singing style is a little bit different. And you sing most of her songs live, correct?
Yes.
So how was that technicality change for you getting into this role?
Well, first of all, I'm so impressed that you know that because that's pretty awesome.
Too. I'm just kidding. I'm not a singer.
Well, listen, you know your stuff and you have a great ear, and you're right. You know, the way Dorinda sings, it's so specific. You know, she almost sounds like she pierces through like a horn, but she has rasp at the same time, and it's so hard. Like, how can you have clarity and rasp at the same time? So it was Donald Lawrence was very, very helpful in helping me find just the center of that sound. He worked with all of them, Karen, Dorinda, individually and collectively, and so he worked with us as well. Before we even said one line on set, we were in the studio. We re-recorded all of the music, and so getting to that sound, you know, it was actually a little hard on my vocals because I sing just kind of the way Donald Lawrence said. He said, you have a lot more bottom to your voice, and it's a little bit more treble. So I had to kind of like sing in a different way, and I did get tired a lot quicker than if I was singing. But I think I found it. I hope I found it.
Yes. So, I mean, for singing live and having to adjust your voice to accommodate her style, was it kind of a learning curve for you?
You know, it's funny. I grew up, you know, in the church, and I would do impressions of whoever would sing at church, you know, that day. And so it wasn't foreign to try to do someone else's voice and emulate that, you know, and I was trying to channel her without mimicking, because literally there's only one Dorinda Clark, you know.
Right.
So Dorinda Clark Cole. So, you know, I just wanted to find the essence of who she was and just find some of those things that her fans know are true, you know, Dorinda-isms.
Yes,
yeah,
very true.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious, too, because, I mean, again, like, when everyone else watches this biopic, they'll be able to hear that you guys are singing in the moment.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. And again, I just think it's so moving. And there was actually a clip when the announcement of the Clark sisters biopic that went on Twitter viral again. I'm on Twitter a lot. Of you guys just in the studio singing. So when you're in these moments throughout the film, when you're singing these live renditions of their songs, do you at all feel moved?
You know, it's one of those things where it's like it's already a part of home to you, because I've been singing these songs for so long. But I do want to just take a moment and give the director, Christine Swanson, a very specific shout out, because it was really her vision to have singers cast, you know, because she wanted the essence of the Clark sisters to be there. The fact that they could just sing on the drop of a dime. So as you said, when we're in the living room, that ain't, you know, that's not backing tracks. That's us singing as we're sitting here talking. We just bust out into song, and you can't do that if it's not real singers. And so she really had that vision to have that, because that's really, you know, that's what the Clark sisters are all about.
Right.
You know.
And this was your first acting role.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you have to just sing live on command.
Yeah.
How was that experience like for you?
Well, you know, I had another little small, tiny role in this HBO film called All the Way. And I kind of loosely played Mahalia Jackson. And so I was used to singing live, because I actually did that live. I remember, you know, I had a scene opposite of Anthony Mackie. He played Martin Luther King, and I just had to keep singing over and over and over again. So I kind of had that practice of being able to do that.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone's like, well, you're a singer. You can just sing whenever. But I mean, again, it takes practice. It takes work to be able to just do that at the drop of a dime.
And to do it over and over again. So that's the thing. It's like you do it in one take, and they say, okay, we want another angle. Now we want it from this side. Now can you do it, you know, this way? So you do have to, you know, have that vocal stamina for sure.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier about just their overall story, the struggle, the success, the resilience, and just the sisterhood that these women had with each other. Do you have any similar storylines in your own personal life that kind of inspired your role for Dorinda?
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something. I actually felt like I was in therapy when I was preparing for this role because it felt like I was looking at my life. Like, I have 3 sisters, so it's 4 of us as well. With them it's 5 sisters, but I also come from a blended family. So as you can see, there were themes of that in the film. I am just desperately close to my mother. Dorinda loved her mother. In fact, the first thing she told me, I never forget this. She said, "I'm so glad that we're doing this movie so people can see who my mother was." She didn't even care about her legacy. She wanted the world to know how special Dr. Maddie Moss Clark was. And so yeah, there was so many parallels that I was really, really able to really channel in a very personal way.
Absolutely, and I think that those parallels shone throughout the film. Again, I just thought it was incredible. Also because, as Black women growing up in the church, I'm sure like a lot of their music, a lot of just who they are, were just woven throughout our lives.
Yes.
It shaped a lot of who we are.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think there's so many things that when you see the story, you see that we didn't know, that even Dr. Maddie Moss Clark was going through behind the scenes. That one scene, I don't want to give too much away either, but, she went through a lot to get to where she was, and we wouldn't have the Clark sisters without her.
Yes. So I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about your own personal career because, you just had a show at the Blue Note and we talked about it, and it's like such an iconic place to perform.
It is.
How was this experience for you?
It was so special. New York over the years has been so good to me. I have played, some incredible venues, Carnegie Hall. I actually opened the Shed last year, and that was just so thrilling. But I realized this was my very first show that I did as a solo artist that was just my own. I wasn't a part of anybody else. Everybody that came there that night just came there to see me. And so to do that at Blue Note was just so, so special.
Right. And you've performed before with other artists. What is that process like? How is that different for you performing your own set versus like actually performing with someone else?
You control the pace. You control the energy. I just did a run right before I came here in Florida, and I had done that same run with David Foster, and we had a great time, but it was almost night and day. The difference, same cities, even some of the same venues, but the energy was different because I was bringing the energy. I was leading the way, and so it was really, really cool to kind of see that.
So I'm glad that you mentioned David Foster because, like I told you backstage, like there was this clip of you that I just want to gas you up a little bit because I was just like, oh my gosh, your voice is just so incredible. And I truly cannot wait for everyone else to see and recognize you. I want you to talk a little bit about that experience, just to give everyone else context if they haven't seen the clip. Have you guys seen the clip? No? Okay, I need you to talk about it because, you did a lot of covers, but these covers were like classic artists singing these very hard songs. The one that was my personal favorite was Chaka Khan.
Oh, my
Through
goodness.
the Fire.
Through the Fire.
Like,
oh my goodness.
Gosh, how was that?
So first of all, I have to say I met David Foster some years back through Stevie Wonder, who's such an angel in my life, has, been so influential and such a mentor and has just loved me to even where I am right now. But I met David and it was an instant connection. And so we started touring together these last couple years. And so, as you know, he's the hit man. So he's written, The Bodyguard for Whitney Houston. He wrote produced. He produced Unbreak My Heart for Toni Braxton. And then he also wrote Through the Fire for Chaka Khan. So in his shows, I, along with Pia Toscano and Fernando Varela, we kind of bring his story to life through all the songs that he's done throughout the years. And so I'm responsible for Whitney, for Toni, for the stuff he did with Barbara, Natalie Cole. And so one of the songs that kind of went viral was Through the Fire and then Unbreak My Heart, Toni Braxton.
These are musical powerhouses, by the way. Like, these songs are, if you can sing these songs well, it just speaks a lot about who you are as an artist. Like, these are very hard songs. Those songs I sing in the shower when nobody can hear me because I can't sing. But like, you did so well, and I was just like, I need to know who this is. It was so great. Yes.
That means so much. You know, well, they're timeless, and you know, although I'm really excited to be putting out new music very soon, it's always such a joy to do those songs because everybody just still loves them, and you know, Whitney, you know, and Natalie, they're no longer with us, and so for me, you know, I don't do those songs to say, oh, look, I can sing like Whitney, or, you know, I can hit the same notes. It really is for me just to show what she has meant to me, what she has meant to millions of people around the world, and just to pay tribute to the voice. There will never be another Whitney Houston, another Natalie, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get comparisons often just because of the songs that you are able to sing.
Yeah.
Which one has been the most complimenting for you?
They all are. They're all legends, you know. I think Whitney, there's so much of her. There's so many parallels. You know, we both grew up in the church, you know. So we have kind of like that soulful core to us no matter what we sing, you know. And she loved melody, and so do I. And so she would put a lot of tasty runs in there. I love doing runs too. But there are moments where it's like I love to be able to just to see the beauty of a melody, and I feel like I resonate with that. And so I do remember when she passed, I did a tribute to her. It was just me singing and playing at the keyboard, and so many people, her best friend, her dancers, her singers, musicians, they all reached out to me, but I have to say the one that meant the most to me was Bobby Christina. May she rest in peace. And she found me and went into my messages and said, you know, when I hear you sing, I feel my mom's spirit with me.
Wow.
And, oh my God, why am I getting teary? And if my mom were here, she would be so proud of you. So I feel like out of everyone, I have this connection with her. And it's just kind of weird that all the people that were in her life, they're in my life. So Michael Bearden, who I just, you know, did the show 2 nights ago at the Apollo, you know, he was her MD. You know, Kirk Whalum, who was the first person who took me on tour, he was her sax. He's who played I Will Always Love You, the most iconic saxophone solo. You know, her makeup artist, one of the ones who was the last person to do her makeup, Reggie, he did my makeup. All these things, like, I didn't even know, and they would tell me later, like, we had this connection to Whitney, so it just kind of feels like she's kind of always with me, in a way. Yeah.
That is incredible. I mean, firstly, the fact that Bobby, again, may she rest in peace, reached out to you.
Yeah.
It just speaks a lot. And I know, like, you're very humble, but it speaks a lot about you, and regardless of your voice, just as a person. She clearly sensed something in you that compelled her to reach out to you.
Right.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. It's something I treasure. Great. Yeah, you know, because I feel like over everyone, I mean, Bobby was inside her. So if anybody knew her voice, it was Bobby, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I want to just talk a little bit about, because we've touched on it a few times, just about the gospel influences throughout your music. How, when you are singing R&B, how do you kind of use that with your songs?
Okay, first of all, I'm loving all these questions because you really get it. You get it, though. Oh, my gosh. I always say, like, you know, God gets my best vocal, you know, because it's something about when you're talking about just, you know, the Lord, that it just brings out something different, you know. So when people hear me sing my gospel, it's just a little different. So sometimes I do cheat.
Yeah.
And so if I'm singing a R&B song, I'll just start thinking about the Lord, and then, you know, that conviction will come through. So, yeah, sometimes that is what you're hearing, for sure.
And I mean, truthfully, unfortunately, we don't always hear that in more modern artists, because I think they don't have that traditional upbringing. And I mean, people don't talk about this a lot, but gospel artists, they're very technical. These runs, the tone, like, it's a lot. It's not just, oh, I'm having fun singing in the church. And we see that in the biopic as well. Like, they practice.
Absolutely.
It's talent. And a lot of them are multi-talented, just like yourself. You can play the piano, you can songwrite. Like, it's a lot.
You know, and I think that that's such an interesting conversation piece, because it's it's been talked about in social media, like, is R&B dead? I don't know if you've seen, a lot of those posts that are going around. It's very much alive and well, but someone did bring up the fact that, the gospel element, so many R&B singers of old were raised in the church. And so you had that core, even though they weren't necessarily saying the name of Jesus, they brought that experience to their music. And that might be what people are kind of missing right now. And so I'm hoping that, myself, along with some other artists, we can bring that back.
Absolutely. I'm excited for your new project.
Thank you.
Can we talk a little bit about that, or is it still kind of under wraps?
I'm in a place now where I just want to put out good music, just music from my heart. And I'm not going to try to focus on, just labels or boxes. I'm just going to do what's in my heart. Because as you said, like you've seen me do like some of the jazz standards. I've done the classic timeless songs with David, but I am interested in doing like some mainstream R&B. And so I want to, kind of explore that. But right now there's a song that I'm really, really excited about. It's not even, I can't even say it's a single. I'm going to release it as a single, but it's a term that I kind of coined. It's an affirmation set to music. And so I called it a song formation.
Oh, I
and
like
so
that.
my very first one is called You Are Enough, and I'm actually going to be releasing it next month.
Okay.
And it's on my social media, and I was able to present it during Grammy Week. I spoke to some students. It was just incredible, and I just had them repeat this affirmation. It just says, you are enough. You have everything you need to succeed. It's already in you. And then I just set that to music. Mm-hmm. And so I'm already getting so much amazing feedback. People are doing covers of it left and right. Kids, preschools, parents are playing it for their kids every morning before they go to school. And it's just a beautiful, positive thing to just put out. And that's just what I want. That's what I want my legacy to be, is that, she used music to bring positive vibes.
Absolutely. I think that's incredibly powerful. And I am going to go on YouTube and listen to it later.
Yay!
So we actually have some audience Q&A. The first one is from Mike.
Okay, what's up, Mike?
How you doing?
Hi.
What was it like working with such an amazing cast and crew of women? And was there any moment that stood out while filming?
Wow. First of all, it was just so much black girl magic going on. It was just beautiful, and it felt historic, like we were doing something really, really special. The fact that we were singing live, that was historic, the fact that we were even able to bring a gospel artist's story to film, that's also, very historic. So that was really incredible. Wow, what stood out? There were so many moments, but I would have to say the moment was before we even stepped foot on set, and it was kind of bringing their songs back to life in the studio. That's kind of a moment. We were all so giddy. We were so excited, just the energy was just so high, and we were just having so much fun. Just seeing the fact that we were actually bringing their sound to life, and so much so that when Donald Lawrence played it for people, they were thinking, "Is that the Clark sisters?" He's like, "No, that is the cast singing." So that was the moment for me. Yeah, thank you.
And then we have one more from Andrew.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Andrew.
Question that I have is, having been mentored by so many legends, what advice did they give you in your kind of growing up to be able to play a legend like Dorinda Clark?
Wow, that's a really good question. They've all given me so much, Stevie Wonder, I was able to tour with him for a couple years with the Songs in the Key of Life tour, and he was so gracious, and he would allow me to have a little step out moment, and I would sing. But watching him night after night, I've never seen a human being just ooze love and give so much to the audience and just to whoever he's around. So that when you hear, My Sharia Moore, songs like that, Do I Do, that warmth that you feel, that's how his spirit is, like when you meet him. So I feel like he's taught me to give that to people every time. I mean, I've seen him, you know, eating and you know, just personal time, and he will stop and make time, take pictures with his fans. And so just that gracious spirit of just always being open and just leading with love, I feel like that's one of the most important lessons he's taught me. Thank you.
Shalea, thank you again so much for coming and talk with us. We cannot wait to watch the biopic,
I can't
The
wait for
Clark
you to see
Sisters,
it.
First Lady of Gospel, which premieres April 11th for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.